Experience their beautiful control. Now we ride with Sam Berry.
Sam Berry, one of the few guys still running a sixth season. Now we see Sam pulling over, and as I said before, he has to do all the work himself.
This is going to be costly. Sam will lose positions. First sighting hero at race mile 18 of Luke McMillan.
Luke McMillan, a very strong young driver in that racer chassis. Look for him at the finish line.
Look at Menzies rocketing through this dry lake bed.
He's got that Courier power plant, and they just hold it wide open. They don't breathe it. They don't do anything. It's just like a dyno run, wide open.
Just as we said, this flat is going to be costly for Sam Berry. Third place, this is Jason Voss.
Jason Voss, he comes from a motorcycle background, so he's very good at reading terrain, but he drives very aggressive. What I like about Jason is that he doesn't really go slow and pace himself. He runs very, very strong all day long.
In the 1553 buggy, that's Ray Griffith being overtaken by Lala Laguna.
Lalo's had quite a time with the buggies today, so his qualifying was off a little bit, and he has to pass a lot of drivers.
Rick, you were talking about speeds. The GPS in Voss's trick truck just said 133 miles per hour.
Exactly. Everyone's going to go up and down a little bit, and the forums might... Oh, and here we see Potts go up on his roof and over. When he happens, he came in a little bit hot, entered the berm in the middle, it bit him, and over he goes. Looks like a soft roll, but that's going to make a long day.
That was at race mile 18. Fifth place, Jesse Jones now enters the dry lake bed.
Jesse Jones, as he's bouncing around, he has to work his way through the dust. You can see the co-driver telling him right and left. Once again, not just audio signals, but hand signals as well. So you might think that the race is over, but these trucks are so tough. They roll Potts back onto his wheels, they'll undo it, they'll make sure that they didn't get too much oil up in the valve covers, and then they'll take off again. But now we see Sam Berry back on course.
Pleasing sight for Sam. This is 7th place Garrett Spool driving across the lake bed. And Potts finally gets going again.
Potts gets going. You see the dirt and everything getting out of it. That driver's 16 years old, so you know what? He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but he's got a bright future ahead of him.
He's saying there's dust up ahead for Justin Lofton. That's because of this UTV competitor. But Justin makes quick work of that, well executed.
That's one of the Baja Lights, and a former Supercross and motocross racer, Damon Bradshaw, is out there, and he's also a monster truck racer as well, so he's trying his hand to hit 400. As you see Bryce, he's starting to pass some of the UTVs. Now, the race earlier today, some of the stragglers are still out on the course, so the drivers have to deal with them as well. So they have to be very careful because they're twice the weight, and they got to be careful not to hit them too hard.
See Lala Laguna running wide. How easily is that done, Rick?
Well, you come in, you miss your mark by 1 foot coming in, it'll be 3 to 10 feet on the exit, so you have to be cautious. But as we said, Lalo didn't qualify as well as he wanted to, so he's having to make up ground now.
Quick shot there of Cameron Steele in 13th. He's been playing the catch-up game ever since the start. This is Sam Morley coming through race mile 18.
So what I love about the Mint 400s, they qualify the buggies and the trucks together. And however you qualify is how you line up. If the buggy is the fastest, and we've seen them win this race before, they start up in the middle of it. So it's a lot of times it's a clash. What do you think is better? Class 1 buggy or a trick truck?
How were you at executing moves like this? How patient did you have to be?
You have to be very patient. As I said, Jason right now is coming up on Damon Bradshaw. Damon gets out of the way. Jason goes by. You don't want to hit him because Jason has been that guy in that truck before. He came from spec truck. He came from motorcycles. He's done a lot of the racing. So you've got to respect your competitors.
Riding on board with Dan McMillan.
Dan, very consistent, very fast. Another one of McMillan's. That's actually the cousin to Andy McMillan and the brother of Luke McMillan.
And job done. Pass made. Stay with us to see if Justin Lofton can stay out in front here in the 2016 Polaris RZR Mint 400, part of the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series and the Polaris RZR Mint 400. I am your host, Sal Mazzagella. And in the past, I've gotten to compete in the limited class at this race twice. Now, unlimited means no restrictions, anything goes as far as modifications. The vehicle goes as fast as you want. In limited class, competitors' vehicles have restrictions on their design, power, and suspension, which means a level playing field, and it all comes down to the skill of the drivers. Not only do these drivers still have to face the same punishing desert heat and conditions, they also have to get up and race at the crack of dawn.
Sal, that's right. Up at the crack of dawn and 6+ hours of brutal head-to-head competition. And this year was full of battles. In Class 10, early on, it was Roger Starkey and Jason Coleman who fought all morning for positions along with TJ Hulse and Nick Carolan, who drove the new 2400 class based on a Ford production EcoBoost turbocharged motor. Jeffrey Cooley looked fast early on, but suffered some mechanical issues. The mid-400 race course pulled no punches. After some intense back-and-forth battling, the 106.7 Roger Starkey took the win in Class 10, with Hulse and Coleman taking second and third behind him, but it was the 2406 car of Nick Carolan that beat them all, winning the limited race overall.
I had the pleasure of running with Rod Lewis in the Spitfire Racing Sportsman vehicle. The track in the morning was unbelievable.
Did you have fun, AJ?
Absolutely, but not as much fun as Justin's having right now.
One of the key sections on this 125-mile loop that they must do all 3 times, the Fox Proving Grounds.
As you can see, the driver, it's got a combination of different sized bumps, so we're going to see how the setup works with different vehicles. Some are a little lower. We see Bryce that stays a little bit flatter than Justin, but Justin had a very smooth run. Looks like Bryce is running it a little bit harder as we see the rocks bouncing off the side.
How can you just rhythm through there?
You have to be on par there.
This is Jason Voss. Let's take a ride. A wild ride.
You can just watch the energy in the tires and see how much harder Jason is running at this time. I think Bryce knows that he's in the lead. He's not going to push it too hard, but Jason is behind a little bit. He's going to be working harder.
Ricky, you mentioned pushing hard, and that's what Cameron Steele's been doing right from the start as he presses to try and get up into the top 10.
One of the nicest guys from the Desert Assassin is on a charge right now, but Andy McMillan, the truck looks very good, very balanced. He doesn't seem to be jumping too high, and you can, once again, watch the energy in the tires. You can see how hard a driver is pushing.
Remember earlier we saw Steele get past the 19-year-old Brett Serapis. Here he is.
I had the pleasure of racing with his father, Steve Serapis, who's the sponsor, obviously, of Brett. But Brett was one of the most dominant drivers of the 6100 and is now one of the top drivers in trick truck.
Here's Rob Mack.
Taking a look at Rob's truck. Rob knows this desert because he's lived out here. He's been running buggies his whole life. This is his neighborhood. Justin running very strong, not too high up in the berm, not pushing it too hard, but still running a blistering pace.
Now his turn for the first time through the Fox Proving Grounds. In 7th place is Derek Spruill.
Spruill running a very strong pace. Looks like he's jumping a little bit farther than everybody else. He obviously is pushing it hard.
Bryce Menzies already at race mile 60. Second physically, but first on corrected time.
David Bradshaw and Leo Dahl in the Baja Light trying to finish their race, but Parkhouse is charging hard.
Doing good to stay up with his lead trick truck pack.
You can watch how the rear tires move independently, and that's the difference between a Class 1 buggy and a trick truck.
The run you've seen Voss have today here in the 35 trick truck, you think he's got a chance at a podium?
Anything can happen. They're only halfway through lap 1, and they got to do this 3 times, and don't forget, they have to finish at night.
Lalo Laguna now through the Fox Proving Grounds.
Lalo running very strong. Lalo's one of those drivers that is always on the gas, whether it be stadium trucks or Baja Racing or here at the Mid-400.
Oh, look at this dust for Andy McMillan.
Andy McMillan's so impressive because he doesn't run a whole schedule like Rob Mack or Bryce Menzies, who run short course and desert.
Cameron Steele making his way towards the Fox Proving Grounds.
Whatever glitch he had at the beginning of the race, he's got it fixed and running strong. We're now on board with Jesse Jones.
And Rick, we see him there using that turning brake.
Yeah, what that does, it's like an emergency brake, so it locks up the rear. So when they come into the corners, because it is a solid rear axle, it wants to push really bad, and there's so much weight towards the back that if you use that fan brake, what it does, it locks up the back brakes and helps you turn.
You used the phrase a little earlier about pushing hard. I don't think anyone pushes as hard as Rob McCachran.
Here we see Josh Daniels working his way through the dust, trying to get back into the front as he pushes the driver by.
I love these onboards. They just depict, they really underscore the brutal, the aggressive nature of the Mint 400. As the physical leader, Justin Lofton, enters the Rigid Lights Quarry. What about this section of the course, Rick?
It's very tight, very technical, with a lot of off cameras. And in these trick trucks, you can't see too well over the hoods, so there's a lot of blind spots for the drivers. Now the question is, does Justin hold back, create some dust, and hope that Bryce gets a flat, or does he just keep running hard, trying to push Bryce? Only Justin knows.
Leader in the class 1500, Cody Parkhouse at race mile 60. Now it's Bryce Menzies' turn to head into the Rigid Lights Quarry.
Jason Ross making it past some of the lap traffic and still trying to chase down Bryce Menzies.
Hard right.
So they'll run their siren to let them know. I always think that they do that just so that if any spectators see any bumping and banging going on, that they can report that they did honk before they hit them.
Running hard out front, Justin Lofton. This is the Mint 400, part of the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back. This is the Polaris Racer Mint 400, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. And we take you heading to Pit B, where leader Justin Lofton has just left.
Well, Justin said at the opening of the show that he's going to feel it out, see how the truck is working, but now he is on mark. He is running hard. So some of these drivers are going to make notes as they go, because Bryce Menzies is one of those drivers that did not take the parade lap this morning. So Pete Mortensen is laying down dangers as the race goes on. So the next lap, he'll have those markers in his GPS.
Good motivation.
The voice you heard was the pit captain letting them know that everything looks good on the truck, all the wheels are tracking, everything looks great.
Sam Bawley in 35th place, working his way through the Fox Proving Grounds. For Justin Lofton, though, RJ, what do you think about being the physical leader, but he knows that Menzies is close, and you know what a fierce competitor Lofton is in the various disciplines of racing that he has been in and been successful in. Bryce Menzies just will not go away.
We see Bryce running really hard, probably about 100 miles an hour at this point, dancing through bumps that are about 3 foot tall. But for Justin Lofton and Bryce Menzies, as we see cameras still go by, you have to race your own race. And this guy, Rob McCagran, is the king of that. He doesn't let anybody get into his head. He runs his own pace and lets the race come to him.
Rob Mack has just left Pit B. This is Steve Oligas, the local Ford dealer through the Fox Proving Grounds, trying to make the top 20.
Derek's still running very strong and right in the middle of this race.
And on corrected time, he's less than 2 minutes behind. Another guy trying to make up time is Tim Herbst through the Fox Proving Grounds.
The Herbst family obviously does so much in Vegas, and Tim, one of the brothers that's out here at every desert race. Pete Mortensen checking the GPS, checking the temps, making sure that everything is right so Bryce can focus on just the track and racing hard.
Plenty of roost from the trick truck of Lalo Laguna, trying to keep it on track.
And not doing a very good job at this point, went to the left, to the right, but now back on track. You're watching in Class 15, Pat Dean, a local that has won so many races out here, it's a little bit hard to keep count.
Into the Rigid Lights Quarry, and this is top 20 competitor. This is Abdali Lopez.
Teammate to Lalo Laguna, it running very strong.
A little further back, Tracy Graf making his way out of the Fox Proving Grounds. While RJ, we're getting to the end of the first lap. Justin Lofton and Bryce Menzies, it has been quite the battle. The dike jump is coming up. Here it is. What's your assessment of that opening lap?
There's a little bump coming right after that, so some of the guys are going to try to jump it. Everyone else is going to go short. For Lofton, perfect first lap, and Bryce Menzies as well. As you see him, he cases it very, very hard and took it right in the chassis, so that probably knocked the wind out of the driver and co-driver.
Justin Lofton has made the decision with his team to pit early, and Bryce Menzies does not.
Steve Menzies and Menzies Motorsports love to play these games, maybe run a little bit longer, and now they're making up time in the pit.
Dike jump for Jason Voss, running third.
If you saw Jason, he cleared the little bump afterward that Bryce cased so hard, so made up a little bit of ground right there. It might not seem like a lot, but about 5 seconds at the end of the day.
Voss, too, has chosen to pit as we ride with Andy McMillan.
Andy McMillan comes over the tip jump and lands with the front wheel very hard right into that G-load. Now imagine the truck is 6,200 pounds. You double that G, he's landed with 13,000 pounds of force.
So 2 of the top 3 have decided to pit early, on board with Jason Voss, and there is the trick truck of Andy McMillan going by in the pit.
but Andy's going to have to make his pit as well. So he comes in, so this is going to give Voss a chance to get back by. So depending on how quick you see Andy taking on rear tires, Voss is going to make his way back past.
Well, it's the first lap of 3 laps for the Mid-400, so this course is going to continue to deteriorate as the day goes on. So he's just keeping track position, keeping clean, not getting out of that truck, and just stay with the pack, and it'll start thinning out later in the day.
Some wise words from Andy McMillan's dad, Scott.
You also see Jesse Jones with a hard man off there as well, but that is the second of 3 generations. Started with Corky, then went to Scott and Mark, and now we see Andy, Luke, and Dan McMillan all out there racing.
So Cody Parkhouse with a good lead, Rob McCachran as he headed over the dike jump, and this is 7th place Derek Spruill at the Prim infield. Plenty of action through this main pit.
We see Rob Mack, who didn't qualify as well as he would have liked, but now is working his way through the field methodically. So very, very fast pace by Rob Mack. Oh, very hard hit once again. As we said, as the drivers push it, there's a sweet spot. If you come into it hard, it is going to buck you really, really bad.
Wow. Parkhouse not afraid to throw it. So too for Serapis as he goes through the razor much. Now this is Rob McCachran and Jones.
Rob Mack using the burn move's advantage with a very strong move.
And with that, moves into 5th overall, chasing McMillan, Voss, Lofton, and leader Bryce Menzies. Stay tuned for more racing with the 2016 Polaris Razor Mint 400, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back to the Red Bull Signature Series and the Polaris Razor Mint 400. I am your host, Sal Mazzatella. Now, the 900 horsepower factory team Trick Trucks, they get all the fanfare and shine as they roar across the desert, helicopters in chase, piloted by the top drivers in the world. But becoming just as popular, the UTV class. You see, these are all-terrain vehicles that are accessible to you and I, and that we can go down to the showroom, buy one, and we're instantly enjoying the great outdoors. However, don't let the size fool you. UTVs, just as competitive as the big boys.
Sal, that's right. The UTV competition was fierce this year and featured 2 main classes, turbo and naturally aspirated, both vying for Mint 400 glory.
Yeah!
Jeffrey Jr. showed signs of greatness as he battled the pack.
Look at this. Let's 2 Trons connect together.
And
Makes
UTV
its
world
car.
champion Brandon Sims, who led the race early in the turbo class. Wayne Matlock applied pressure to Sims all day long though. Justin Lambert of Cognito Motorsports led his class most of the race, while guys like Cody Raiders gave chase. But it was Brandon Sims and Justin Lambert,
Yeah!
drivers for Polaris, that set a blistering pace and pushed way out ahead of the chase pack. Lambert had a scary moment and broke down a mere 20 yards from the finish line. But in a display of incredible sportsmanship, his Polaris teammate Sims helped him push his car across the line. Sims took the checkered flag and was the fastest UTV on course today, taking 1st in the turbo class, while Lambert finished 3rd overall and 1st in the naturally aspirated class. A remarkable day of racing for these young Polaris UTV racers.
The great thing about these UTVs is it's bringing people off the couch into the races. Over 60 entries.
Dan McMillan, cousin to Andy, as RJ was saying earlier, heads out into the Joshua Tree Forest on his 2nd lap. Now riding with Voss. Whoa, whoa!
Voss off to the side, obviously going to stop and change the tire. This is going to be a great break. Andy McMillan still running a strong pace. Jason Voss off to the left.
And Ricky, you were talking earlier about the McMillan dynasty. This is Dan McMillan's younger brother, Luke.
Both Luke and Dan running that racer chassis that Dale Dondell has designed and qualified many times up front. So a very fast chassis under those 2 McMillan brothers.
Oh, and Jason Voss is just watching them go by. This is Charlie McDowell off the dike jump and over.
We talked about it. If you hit in the wrong spot, when it comes to being a sweet spot, is the anti. What it did is it bucked Charlie right up. He had no control of it and into the guardrail.
How frustrating is this for Jason Voss? He's just watched Jesse Jones go by as well.
As you hear the motor rev up and back down, what's happening is he's breaking traction. As they go across the dry lake bed, there's certain spots that are a little bit softer than others, and then the back tires are breaking traction and then gaining traction, and your speed can fluctuate sometimes 15 to 20 miles an hour depending on the wind.
That was pleasing to see Charlie McDowell and his co-driver out of the car and going again. Race mile 46, and this is the first time today that we've seen Justin Lofton actually have to do some chasing on road.
Remember my comment about sharks and blood and drivers and dust? Now Lofton is hunting down Bryce Menzies.
That's Andy McMillan charging hard. He feels he's got a shot at this one.
Andy running very strong, but you got to make sure that you stay on track because the sidewall is the weak spot. As we watch Jason Voss go through, as he gets up a little high like that and bounces side to side, that's where you can knock a flat because the tires are designed to run over the rocks. They're not designed to slide into them.
This is Derek Spruill, who also passed Jesse Jones in pit A across the dry lake bed. Now Rob McCachran, he got past Jones on track, got past Jason Voss when Voss was stranded. Look out for Rob McCachran.
Andy McMillan's still running a strong pace. Do not count him out.
RJ, it's fascinating how this race has changed in complexion, and for Justin Lofton, now he's looking up ahead at the dust trail of Bryce Menzies, exactly what Menzies was doing to him on the opening lap of this Mint 400.
You hear that hard shift, that's a manual transmission lead. So Justin is going back and forth between 4th and 5th gear, where Bryce Menzies got the automatic, where he'll run a Turbo 400 prepared by Kevin Croyer, where he'll just run 2nd and 3rd gear all day long. But you can see the pace of Lofton. He's running right on the edge. He wants to try to push Bryce Menzies to make a mistake. But I've been teammates with Bryce, and I've watched him in many championships. He does not make many mistakes.
But if any do, that man there, the two-time Mint 400 winner, Andy McMillan, is in a prime position.
At this point of the race, it's anybody's race, but you got to remember how physical this race is. So the guys have to make sure they keep up on their nutrition, make sure they keep on their hydration.
How much do you think this track has deteriorated from lap 1 to now?
Unbelievably, the track as it gets raced on, the silt pockets get deeper, the ruts get deeper, and the drivers are kicking rocks off from side to side. So the track gets worse, but the knowledge goes up.
Let's see if Bryce Menzies can hold on to this lead and build up enough time at pit B before Justin can catch him. Find out when we return with more racing from the Mint 400, part of the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back to the Polaris RZR Mint 400, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. And in the Red Bull Trek truck, Bryce Menzies, leader of the Mint 400, finds traffic in Taylor Mills.
We saw this happen to Justin Lofton when he was out in front catching another driver, so it's a fine balance. Once again, you have to drive your own race. You cannot worry about anybody until the last couple miles. But right now, Bryce Menzies is catching some of those stragglers that are trying to finish this morning's race, and also some of the trick trucks and Class 1 cars that have problems.
Jesse Jones.
We see Jesse, his hood's flapping, so obviously he's been bouncing some guys out of the way. Jesse knows one of those drivers that once he gets behind you do not want to stay in his way.
Look at those colossal roosts from Bryce Menzies, not only underscoring the territory but the immense power of these 900 horsepower monsters as Cody Parkhouse flashes through. He's in hot pursuit of Jesse Jones. Hey RJ, Menzies' truck there was wiggling side to side. Something wrong, or that just shows how hard it is to pull these monsters up?
Well, actually, he's on the asphalt lane. That's the one place where you have consistent terrain underneath you. So he's doing a physical check as the driver, so he doesn't have to worry about anybody looking. He can feel everything that's going on underneath the truck: brakes, steering, and transmission.
It's the guy we're talking about, Bryce Menzies, as he makes his way through the quarry. Second place, Justin Lofton. Eyes on the prize, keeping Menzies inside. We haven't seen Cameron Steele for a while. Here he is.
Cameron's still running very strong. Obviously, whatever that Gremlin was at the beginning of the race got that fixed. But Justin Lofton running very strong. You can see that he is not holding back at all. On a short course, you can make a little time, but you can lose a lot of time. A lot of the drivers have to come in. It's very hard gravel. It's got a lot of traction, but then it goes through sections where it's marbly and very loose, so you have to be patient and not lose time.
Menzies heads towards pit B where we expect him to stop. There's Andy McMillan. This is Jason Voss working his way through the rigid lights quarry. This is a rugged section. Look at Jesse Jones on the inside of Sproul here.
Sproul turns in a little bit, but then the back wheels come off. He gets a hold of the edge, and over he goes. That is not going to be one happy driver, but I'm really not going to call foul on Jesse Jones. That was just a racing incident.
Mint 400 leader Bryce Menzies making his way into pit B. Now what's Lofton thinking here?
Lofton once again has to stay in his own head, because if you overdrive the truck, you beat it up a little bit too much, as we're watching Bryce Menzies come in to make his pit stop. You got to make sure that you stay in your own head.
Remember, Bryce Menzies did not stop. Oh, and look at this. These guys are not happy.
There's going to be some words in the Jones pit after the race. I'm going to guarantee that.
Derek Sproul and his co-driver not happy. Justin Lofton makes his way into pit B. Remember, Menzies stopping, and there goes Bryce.
As you can see, Bryce accelerates hard, so you can get on the gas hard, but you just can't exceed the speed limit. So it doesn't matter how fast you get up to that speed, just don't pass it.
Ricky, what are the benefits for Menzies going longer on that initial run?
Well, some of the drivers don't like the fluctuation in weight because the percentage of front to rear weight changes drastically, but Bryce races Pro 2, Pro 4, and also Trophy Truck. So what he'll do is he'll just adapt his driving style to the weight.
That's Derek Sproul, has been righted and is able to continue. Let's hope he can get back to racing. This is third place Andy McMillan.
And you can look at the trucks and see how hard a driver has been going. And Andy's truck has some dust on it, no scratches, so he's staying on course and doing exactly what he needs to do. But this race between the two front guys is very tight at this point.
Leaving pit B, and we are fascinated by this battle up front for the 2016 Polaris RZR Mint 400, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. Welcome back. You're watching the 2016 Polaris RZR Mint 400, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. From Primm, Nevada, you're looking at a man who lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, not too far from here, and that is Bryce Menzies, leading the way in his Red Bull Geyser trick truck. Is he feeling the pressure from this man, Ricky Johnson?
Justin Lofton is physically second, and he's also second in corrected time. So Justin has to pass Bryce and make time to get ahead corrected. So he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
It was a stroke of luck there too that there were so many lines, such a wide area for Lofton going through that wall of dust. And look at this, Menzies again in excess of 100 miles an hour.
Cameron's still now starting to get the hang of the track and going to start pushing harder and harder. He does understand, though, that it's getting rougher and rougher, and the shocks are getting heated up, so the truck is going to deteriorate a little bit, but he does know where he's going on the track.
Andy McMillan at race mile 81, and what a day it's been for youngster Brett Serapis.
They obviously had to do some work on Brett's truck, but he's doing a great job as a rookie here in the trick truck class.
Into the Primm dry lake bed goes Bryce Menzies. Did most of the first lap chasing and most of this second lap leading. What does his team think?
Bryce just pitted at pit B, and he's still first on the road. And so if things go right, we shouldn't even stop here. We should just go by for a visual. And he's got to stretch out a little bit of time, but being out front, we should be okay, I hope.
That is Smiling Ralph Chadwick, self-proclaimed king of the 1600 cars. So, great report on what's going on with Bryce Menzies by Ralph Chadwick.
And that was a wild ride through the thumpers with Jason Voss after that earlier stop. He's running in fifth now as Lofton enjoys the Primm dry lake bed.
Josh Daniels with that 1,000 horsepower trick truck running really strong, and Jesse Jones, as we've seen, has had a lot of battle today. He's missing some fenders, loose hood, and he's taking another driver for a ride.
Oh no, something has happened to Jason Voss again.
Co-driver out, gonna assess the damage, but that's so disheartening because you work so hard and you make so much ground, and then you have to give it all right back.
Nevada native BJ Baldwin didn't qualify all that well for this year's Mint 400, but has been picking his way through the field nicely.
And now Jesse Jones is working his way back through the field. We saw that he's had some trouble losing a fender, loose hood, but he's still back on track and starting to work his way through the field. Here we see him get back past Jason Voss.
In 8th place is Lalo Laguna. and taking an adventurous line here to get by a UTV.
You can see how much dust the UTVs bring up. So the track is just getting more dustier and dustier. Now you also see the shadows are getting longer and longer, so it's harder for those drivers to see the ground.
Looking good through the Polaris Razor Arch. However, the day is getting worse for Jason Voss.
Justin Laughlin running very strong, and now we see Voss's co-driver getting back in, and as he starts to roll, what the driver will do is get rolling. Once they're clipped in, that's when the driver will go full speed.
So it's not all lost on Voss. He's dropped to 7th place. We'll see what the remainder of this race holds as we check in with Cody Parkhouse.
As we see Bryce Menzies with Prim, Nevada in the background, he's finishing lap 2, getting ready to start lap 3. And this is a section where it's a lot like a playground for the drivers. Not very rough, not very fast, but big, bold berms.
And when you come into the Prim infield, as it's known, Ricky, how motivating is that?
Well, you know that you're close, that people are right there, because when you get out on the other side of the desert, it's illegal for your crew to come to you. That you can only have a best in the desert official tow you out, so you feel much more secure when you can see Prim in the background.
Race mile 81, Brett Serapis now going through the thumpers. And look, there's the Menzies team looking at their man and saying, yep, everything looks in good order.
BJ Baldwin starting to get faster and faster. As we said, he didn't qualify where he wanted, but he's starting to pick up the pace.
Main pit for the last time for Justin Lofton, heading into the 3rd and final 125-mile loop.
And we see Andy McMillan right on the back fender of Justin Lofton. So this race is still very tight, but they're going into the night.
And Rick, how tight? Those 4 guys at the top of this race are separated on corrected time by less than a minute.
And a heartbreaker for Jesse Jones. Anytime they got the hood off the truck, Lee, it is not good.
On a day that's been spectacular for many reasons for Jesse Jones, but this may be terminal.
We see belts, we see wrenches flying. The co-driver is not happy.
Race leader, Bryce Menzies. And it has been a blistering day for the driver of the Red Bull truck, and he leads the way heading into the final lap here in the Mint 400 over Justin Lofton and Rob McCachran in 3rd. Here's Sal back in the Red Bull Signature Series studio.
Thank you, Lee. Wild racing as usual. With over 40,000 spectators and 350 off-road teams, you think it's possible to actually have a conversation? Yes. Join and follow the Red Bull Signature Series on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. Any way you get down socially, the hashtag is Mint400. Or you can go to RedBullSignatureSeries.com, where we have even more exclusive content for you about this event and our entire schedule for the year. Plus, you can also download the Red Bull TV app, where you can watch this show and every episode from every season of the SIG series. Plenty more racing coming up for you on the Great American Off-Road Race. You are watching the Polaris RZR Mint 400, only on the Red Bull Signature Series.
Welcome back. This is the 2016 Polaris RZR Mint 400, a part of the Red Bull Signature Series. And at this time of the day, Ricky, day goes to dusk, goes to night. It's the final 125 miles of the Mint 400.
We can see the long shadows, but we still have 125 miles to go.
Menzies and Lofton, and another one who has been a key contender today, Jason Voss.
Jason used to race cross-country motorcycles, and we always had the pit boards, okay, of course. And I don't know, I just thought sitting down in his bedroom, I thought that'd be pretty cool to get one for the races and give him encouragement every once in a while. So earlier it said, go for it, Jason, go, and now he just needs to step on it.
Yeah!
And Jason is stepping on it.
Stepping on it for sure. After he changed that tire, he had to lose all those positions. Now he's working his way past Cody Parkhouse and trying to chase down Bryce Menzies. In a lot of cases, your mom is out there trying to tell you to be calm, be smooth, but I love how Mrs. Voss is saying, step on it.
Go for it. And that's exactly what Rob McCachran's doing. He's just gone one position at a time and now running 3rd on the 3rd and final lap.
Bryce Menzies with a very strong pace, out in front physically, out in front on corrected time. Everything is going perfect at this point.
Through the whoops at race mile 44, climb aboard with Voss.
didn't hear much fluctuation on throttle, so definitely Jason Voss is listening to his mother and he's stepping on it.
And Lofton is in the attacking mode. It's the final lap. He knows that. How much pressure can he put on Bryce Menzies?
Well, they prep these trucks so well. Pete Morrison, who's also the co-driver, main mechanic, and manager of that team, does everything to it and has 100% confidence that it's going to run all 400 miles.
Look at Justin Lofton through the whoops. He's still got plenty left on this final lap.
You can see the shadows, and that's deceiving for the drivers because a lot of times when you see a shadow, it means that there's a big bump, but it could mean bushes on the side. So right now, after the beating that these drivers and the trucks have taken, imagine 100,000 miles on your shocks. That's the kind of punishment that these guys are putting on their trucks in just 300 plus miles.
Gene Dry Lakebed for the Class 1 leader and 6th overall of Cody Parkhouse. It's been a very productive day for Cody. This is Andy McMillan, though.
We see the ruts are getting deeper and deeper, so in some cases it helps you out, but a lot of times when the trucks are banging and sliding back and forth, as you see Bryce slightly get off track, that pulls the rocks in, and that's where you can get some of the flats.
Did he get off track, or he was trying to stay out of the ruts?
Only Bryce will know. He'll probably tell you that that was intentional, but he's driving it hard nonetheless, and here we see Jason Voss doing the same thing. But there's the problem. The sun is going down, obviously to the west, and the drivers have to deal with that.
Now, you saw how Menzies went through this heavily rutted section. What do you make of Justin Lofton's line?
Well, it looked like Bryce hopped a little bit. It's one of those things that you have to just throttle it and look ahead. When you're driving a trophy truck this fast through whoops that are 3, in some cases 4 feet tall, you can't be absolutely precise. It's like driving a boat. You're going to swap side to side as we're watching Andy McMillan come through here, but you can be precise enough to keep it on track, and that's what all these drivers are doing, showing unbelievable patience as they drive over 100 miles an hour.
Ricky, you know who didn't come through in that sequence was Rob McCachran. Has something happened to Rob Mack? We'll find out. Was that him there?
Sure enough, Rob Mack off to the side. We don't know what happened to his truck, but a driver that's been so patient so long, who knows what it was. Sometimes it says, they say it's a 30-cent or a $2 part, but anything can take you out when you run a truck this hard.
No quit in Justin Lofton. Remember, he's just trying to be the 5th driver to ever go back-to-back in the 48-year history of the Mint 400. It's still an offer, and it's still an option that's on the table.
And when these drivers, I've been in this situation, and I've driven this course 2 years ago, and at the last lap, the ruts are so big, and we saw Bryce Menzies off to the side, so something has happened to Bryce Menzies' truck. As we get a report on that, it's something with the steering, as we see Pete Morrison out and now looking over the truck. A heartbreaker once again for Red Bull's Bryce Menzies.
2 of the biggest names in this year's Mint 400 are out. Sal?
Thank you, Lee. The sun is set, and we're in the best part, the final miles to the finish. After long hours in the daylight, the drivers now have to navigate this course in the dark. Can Justin Lofton maintain that lead and become the 2016 champion? We will find out.
The finish is in sight in this year's Mint 400. Ricky Johnson, can you believe what we have just seen with Bryce Menzies being knocked out of this race?
Well, not just Bryce Menzies, but Rob McCachran, 2 of the local boys that know this desert better than probably anybody, are out. And Justin Lofton is doing a great job, but my hat is off to Brett Serapis. He was the champion 6100 last year, and now this is not his debut, but his first year in Trick Truck, and is doing a great job.
It's been an outstanding day. The truck might not look in the best of shape as Andy McMillan is now into 2nd place through the rigid quarry. And we have to remind you, this man on screen, Justin Lofton, last year's winner, is fast-tracking it to back-to-back victories.
And now he's physically first, but he doesn't know where everybody is behind him. His crew can tell him different time splits, but he has to run because he's going to be, if he does finish, he'll be the first of the finish line, but he has to make sure that he stays well enough ahead of everybody so he doesn't lose on corrected time.
And RJ, the counterpoint to that is this man, Andy McMillan, who's trying to chase him down.
Andy has won this race in the past, but as I said, he cannot focus on Lofton. He has to run his own race. Here we see Cody Parkhouse off to the side and Brett Serapis working his way past.
3rd place after at one point in time being as far back as 7th, Jason Voss not giving up without a fight.
We see Lofton not holding back either because he is very confident in that Gemco Trophy truck that he feels that he can push it 100% all the way to the finish line. And now we see Cody Parkhouse back on track.
The other thing we see too, Rick, is that the lights are coming into effect. This is a difficult time of the race.
Andy McMillan in the Tesco truck running very strong, but it's Justin Lofton out front and running as hard as he can. He is not holding back one bit.
Ricky gave this young man, Brett Serapis, props earlier in the show, and he's as high as 4th, heading to the line.
The top, Class 1, Cody Parkhouse, still running very strong as he pushes over the berm. A lot of times you can't see, and you don't know what's under that silt, so he just pushes a little bit. We see Voss with no lights, and the sun is starting to go down.
And he's just said farewell to Pit B on his way home. But it's looking really good. Very promising for Justin Lofton.
Andy McMillan's still pushing very hard, and now we see Lalo Laguna starting to work his way back up. Or no, that's Abdali Lopez, his teammate, who's now making a charge late in the race.
Just got around the 15:29 of Scott Bailey.
On board with Jason Voss. Now, some of the drivers, they like driving better at night because they can focus on the terrain in front of them. The lights are so good now from Baja Designs and Rigid and many of the other manufacturers that the drivers can focus on the task at hand.
Race mile 105 for Andy McMillan. He is almost there. Justin Lofton crosses the finish line, and for the time being, he is the 2016 Mid-400 champion until we get the corrected time.
Exactly. So right now, you sit and wait. It's a lot like when you're qualifying for a race and you're the first one out. As we see Andy McMillan go by, we'll see what happens on corrected time.
And we're about to find out, Rick. It is confirmed. Justin Lofton is a two-time, back-to-back Mid-400 winner.
That's got to be a great feeling because he qualified up front, lost the lead to Bryce Menzies, but fought his way back. And Jason Voss worked his way all the way back to third. So great job by all these drivers, but my hat's off to the champion, Justin Lofton.
I thought we were in trouble when we had on our pit strategy and Bryce got in front of us. And man, Bryce and Andy and Rob pushed so hard, and Jason, and it's unbelievable how fast a pace it was, but the course was amazing. We got that little bit of rain last night and made for one hell of a race, and I can tell you, TV is going to have an amazing story to tell on how this race unfolded. So hats off to everyone that is part of this deal, and I'm happy to be here for Fox, BF Goodrich Tires. I guess I got a couple checks coming, and hey, here we are.
There's the winner, Justin Lofton, with his signature moment. How did he do it? Well, Justin Lofton put himself in a position to win by throwing down a remarkable qualifying run the day before the race. Qualifying first, starting the race first, and had clean air and no pressure on the first lap of the race. It came down to seconds, and Justin made his Red Bull signature moment before it even started. So McMillan and Voss chase Lofton home for solid podium finishes. Cody Parkhouse in 7th overall, the best in Class 1. What's your take on the day, Rick?
I got to throw a shout out to Brett Serapis. Rookie year, finishes in the top 5 and finishes the Mid-400. Great job.
Here's Sal back in the Red Bull Signature Series studio.
Thank you, Lee. Another great day in the desert, and thanks to all you guys at home for watching the Polaris RZR Mid-400 Prim near Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. The 49th running of the Great American Off-Road Race is a wrap and history made once again as Justin Lofton dominates the trick truck class with back-to-back wins here at the Mid-400. Also, congratulations to Andy McMillan and Jason Voss, along with their hardworking crews as they round out the podium. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us in the desert on behalf of our entire NBC Sports crew, including Lee Diffie and the legend Ricky Johnson. I'm Sal Masekela, and we will see you next time.
The Austrian Grand Prix is round 3 of the 2016 FIM Extra World Championship. After witnessing the 2015 title decider, fans in Vienna Neustadt will look forward to a closer battle for victory this year, with 2 different winners in the opening 2 events. Round 2 of the campaign took the riders to the sport's Catalan heartland for the Spanish Grand Prix in the Palau Sant Jordi, with a new leader after Adam Braga's surprise victory in Sheffield. Eddie Carlson could only manage 7th with 3 failed sections and a 20-mark score on the qualifying lap, but the Swede did get the better of wildcard Jaime Busto, thanks to his superior performance in section 5. Alexander Ferrer took 6th thanks to a clean result in section 4 and was on course for a place in the final before an error in section 5 left him out of the running. The dropped mark in section 1 cost Takahisa Fujinami a top 4 position. The veteran recovered well with just 2 drop marks in the last 3 sections to take 5th. Ronnie Fajardo squeezed into the final by just a mark and looked out of place in the top 4. 5 fiascos and just 2 successfully completed sections. The Spaniard took 4th. Albert Cabestan moved ahead of his fellow countrymen with a superior performance on sections 2 and 3, but dropped back from the front runners with 3 consecutive failed sections. Adam Braga matched Cabestan on the opening 3 sections before moving ahead in the second half of the lap. But he dropped 4 crucial marks back from Tony Bowe over sections 3 and 4 and was unable to recover. The reigning champion returned to the top of the leaderboard with a typically excellent display. There was a brief moment of concern after a spectacular fall in section 5, but Bowe continued on through the final 2 sections to maintain his 4-mark advantage and take a first victory of the season.
There are many iconic off-road races around the world, but none that can call themselves the Great American Off-Road Race.
There we go. Section 2. He's nuts.
1 points with 1 victory apiece. Tony Bowe and Adam Braga lead into Austria.
Right up the stairs on Las Vegas Boulevard. Hey, see me, there you go.
2016 championship. Victory in Barcelona returned him to the top of the leaderboard, but defeat in Sheffield has made his path to the 2016 title somewhat more complicated. There was a moment where I was running in 4th. The Austrian Grand Prix is round 3 of the 2016 FIM Extra World Championship. And of course, victory witnessing the 2015 title decider, fans in Vienna Neustadt will look forward to a closer battle for victory this year, with 2 different winners in the opening 2 events. Pressure from Palau Sant Jordi is very special for me. This time it was round 2 of the campaign took the riders to the sport's Catalan heartland for the Spanish Grand Prix in the Palau Sant Jordi. The new leader, Adam Braga's surprise victory was Sheffield. Eddie Carlson could only manage 7th with 3 failed sections and a 20-mark score on the qualifying lap. The Swede did get the better of wildcard Jaime Busto, thanks to his superior performance in section 5. Alexander Ferrer took 6th thanks to a clean result in section 4 and was on course for a place in the final before an error in section 5 left him out of the running. Thing at the time. Dropped mark in section 1 cost Takahisa Fujinami a top 4 position. The veteran recovered well with just 2 drop marks in the last 3 sections, with a take between races the intensity dropped somewhat. It's now a bit more about Ronnie Fajardo squeezed into the final by just a mark, but looked out of place in the top 4. 5 fiascos and just 2 successfully completed sections. The Spaniard took 4th. We're really happy being here in Andorra. It's been a very positive winter. We've been able to train well. And aside from that, the altitude is... Albert Cabestan moved ahead of his fellow countrymen with a superior performance on sections 2 and 3. Drop back from the front runners to 3 consecutive field sections. Being in Andorra will help me to extend my sporting... Adam Raga matched Cabestan on the opening 3 sections before moving ahead in the second half of the lap. But he dropped 4 crucial marks back from Tony Bowe over sections 3 and 4, unable to recover. It was a new race where we've never ridden before and a new organiser for the championship. It was the toughest race of the year, but one where I was really able to open out an advantage. So I loved it. The reigning champion returned to the top of the leaderboard with a typically excellent display. There was a brief moment of concern after a spectacular fall in section 5, but Bowe continued on through the final 2 sections to maintain his 4-mark advantage and take her first victory of the season. Arena Nova is the venue for round 3 in the 2016 title race. One of the most compact level on points with 1 victory apiece. Tony Bowe and Adam Raga lead into Austria. Positions 3 to 6 were unchanged in Barcelona. Tony Bowe was always the favourite to take the 2016 championship. Victory in Barcelona returned him to the top of the leaderboard, but defeat in Sheffield has made his path to the 2016 title somewhat more complicated. There was a moment where I was running in 4th and I had to recover from there. Second position in such a short championship is the best you can do if you can't win. And of course the victory in Barcelona restored my morale. We gave 100%, we knew it would be complicated for us. The key is to use the home element to help, not to hinder. There's an extra pressure, Palau San Jordi was very special for me. This time it was a little bit different because how the championship was going, but also because of the way I rode, which was very strong. In Austria for Carlsen. Bowe's 7th consecutive Barcelona extra victory was far from comfortable. A spectacular crash in section 5 left him limping away in all of his strength to return to the arena floor. Carlsen was hoping for a more competitive end to the campaign. It was a critical moment. I suffered an impact on my back, which was a little uncomfortable at first, but nothing more than that. It was more mental than physical because I was so high, and I was able to continue on in the race, which was the most important thing at the time. As the Germans' rise in the sport continues, leveled the scoring with Carlsen on section 1 after registering a single mark on observation. With a month's break between races, the intensity dropped somewhat. It's now a bit more about gym work since indoor requires a bit of explosivity. This week we will do a bit more cardio work before returning to the gym for more exercise. And Kadlec was still level coming into section 4 after consecutive failures in section 3. We're really happy being here in Andorra. It's been a very positive winter. We've been able to train well, and aside from that, the altitude is helpful, particularly before the start of the season. After a year here, my strength has definitely improved. I'm very happy, and as much as anything, it's a plan for the future. Being in Andorra will help me to extend my sporting career. Was unable to match the Swedes right through section 4, accruing 2 marks on observation for leading and dropping in arrears in the pair. Vienna Neustadt last year was a surprise for me. It was a new race where we'd never ridden before and a new organiser for the championship. It was the toughest race of the year and one where I was really able to open out an advantage. So I loved it, and I hope that the level of the sections is the same this year. It should be a trial with some big steps and some technical challenges. Achieving my 9th title there, in the way I did it, leading with great section 5, leaving the German just a mark behind, but with 2 sections to ride. After a section 6 fiasco, the Swede went on to record a lap total of 17, enough to take his season's best results of 6. Arena Nova is the venue for round 3 in the 2016 title race. One of the most compact arenas of the series will guarantee an intimate atmosphere. Expected 5,000 capacity crowd for the events. Meanwhile, the youngest rider in the field dropped 8 marks over the remaining 2 sections. 3 marks over in section 5 and a failure to close the lap. Franz Kadlec took the wildcard position for a 2nd consecutive season, joining the Spanish top 4 and bringing a 5th different nation to the sections. Eddie Carlson was only separated from the bottom of the standings in Austria 2015 by wildcard rider Franz Kadlec. The Swede suffered an early setback in his battle with the German in 2016, riding first through the sections after his double-lane defeat. But it was nonetheless a promising start in Austria for Carlson, who scored just a single mark on observation in section 1 and set down a marker to his German rival. Having failed to beat a permanent rider in the opening 2 events of 2016, Carlson would hope for a more competitive end to the campaign. His 2-mark score in section 1 immediately left him with Franz Kadlec failed to get through even one section in his 2015 wildcard appearance and failed 3 sections in his second career Grand Prix appearance. If this was a more promising experience as the Germans' rise in the sport continues, levelled the scoring with Carlson on section 1 after registering a single mark on observation. Carlson and Kadlec were still level coming into section 4 after consecutive failures in sections 2 and 3. Carlson recorded the first and only clean of his lap, laid down the gauntlet to Kadlec, and also putting in a performance that would eventually help him to better Alexander Ferrer's lap total and dropped to the back of the pack. Takehisa Fujinami was the first rider to Franz Kadlec was unable to match the Swede's ride through section 4, accruing 2 marks on observation in the pair. 2 marks accrued on observation during the section moved him on to a total of 4 after 2 sections. The average qualifying total required in the opening 2 events of the season was 8 marks, enough needed to improve the remaining. Carlson dropped a mark on section 5, leaving the German just a mark behind, but with 2 sections to ride. After a section 6 fiasco, the Swede went on to dominate a lap total of 17, enough to take his season's best result of 6th. Meanwhile, the youngest rider in the field dropped 8 marks over the remaining 2 sections, with a 3-mark total in section 5 and a failure to close the lap. His 21-mark qualification total was enough to give him 7.
Crohn's disease.
You're more than just a bathroom disease.
You're a life of unpredictable symptoms. Crohn's.
Goddamn.
But now it's our turn to take control.
Goddamn.
Stelara works differently for adults with moderately to severe Crohn's disease. Studies show relief and remission with dosing degree in weeks.
Stelara may lower the ability of your immune system to fight infections and may increase your risk of infections and cancer. Some serious infections require hospitalization. Before treatment, get tested for tuberculosis. During treatment, always tell your doctor if you think you have an infection or have flu-like symptoms or sores, have had cancer, or develop any new skin growths, or if anyone in your house needs or recently had a vaccine. Alert your doctor of new or worsening problems, including headaches, seizures, confusion, and vision problems. These may be signs of a rare, potentially fatal brain condition. Some serious allergic reactions can occur. Do not take Stelara if you are allergic to any of its ingredients.
We're fed up with your unpredictability.
Remission can start with Stelara. Talk to your doctor today. Janssen wants to help you explore cost support options for Stelara.
In 2003, I got my first driver's license, got a Chevy Silverado, and within a month, I took it out to the desert, hit a jump with it, and broke the truck, and my dad was screaming at me, but, you know, it kind of led me to this, the off-road world.
I've been racing off-road for 8 years now. We've won 6 championships, and it kind of just feels like I've got to that point where we could make the next big thing and off-road happen. And
Jump a dirt bike,
we all sat down and talked about a jump
something
that
that
I
I've always
did
wanted to
years
do,
ago.
see how far I can
It's
jump a
going
race truck.
to push the limits of myself. It's going to challenge our team and everybody around us way more than we've been challenged so far. But I feel real passionate about it.
to finish and win.
With most
In
jumps,
2003, I got my first driver's license, got a Chevy Silverado, and within a month, I took it out to the desert, hit a jump with it, and broke the truck, and my dad was screaming at me, but, you know, it kind of led me to this, the off-road world.
I've been racing off-road for 8 years now. We've won 6 championships, and it kind of just feels like I've got to that point where we could make the next big thing and off-road happen. And we all sat down and talked about a jump probably like 3 years ago. It's going to push the limits of myself. It's going to challenge our team and everybody around us way more than we've been challenged so far. But I feel real passionate about it and want to break a record the other way.
Right.
You know, Bryce
There's so many things that start to come into play that you never had to do before.
When it's race mode,
It's kind of the little rumble part of this.
Dirty doesn't have any time for you, you know, and he, even if he does good or wins, he's still thinking what he could do better. It's more of an internal thing with him. He knows I expect to win. We talk about it. We talk about it as a team. We get paid to win. We don't get paid to get second or third. We get paid to finish and win.
With most jumps, the takeoff is usually easy. It's the
difficult part about doing
so we've got to have a really relatively solid idea of what it's going to do and how wind affects something. You know, you can move the thing up and down with that gas or the brake. You start getting all these different effects that never happen when you're in the normal course of what the vehicle
talk about 300 feet, the
is
best way to visualize it would be a football field. You know,
this is a
talking about
racing
300
truck.
feet.
It's
We're
not
basically talking
flying.
about goal line to goal line in midair.
Here in
You know,
DC racing,
basically
we
the
jump
floor
long
of most
distances.
football stadiums.
Sometimes he'll run out of gas and air. It seems like he's going to die.
I'm not 100% sure what goes through his mind, but I'm sure at some point with these guys...
There's so many things that start to come into play that you've never had to do before. And that's, it's kind of a really cool part of this, but something we're incredibly sensitive to. So if any time in the process, someone just says something a little weird, it's like over question because that little weird can become something really massive as your distance is starting increasing by 40, 20, 50, 100 feet.
So when Bryce lands, he's going to have to land just about perfect. The difficult part about doing something first is that you're going to make mistakes. It doesn't matter how calculated you are, it doesn't matter how smart you are, how much knowledge you had. You're going to do things that you think are going to work some way, take you to a completely different way. But that's the beauty of it. That's the fun part.
We just want to jump really far to break the record.
When we talk about 300 feet, the best way to visualize it would be a football field. You know, we're talking about 300 feet. We're basically talking about goal line to goal line in midair. You're jumping basically the floor of most football stadiums. I'm not 100% sure what goes through his mind, but I'm sure at some point with these guys over the years, oh, has gone through their mind. No, I think what goes through their mind is, I think if these guys are so focused on what they're doing, you know, they have to match the right amount of speed, be on the throttle and so on. So I think it really is just mostly focus.
This is tough to get a tank to land exactly where you want to. Any side wind, any gust of wind, it's a gust of wind that makes a difference of 40, 50, 60 feet. So when Bryce lands, he's going to have to land
I don't want
just
you to worry
about
about
perfect.
disappointing anyone because
Probably doing a little bit of praying, I would imagine.
The most frustrating part of the experience is the unknown. We're doing something that we have no idea what's going to happen with the truck. So it's all a learning curve. And this is something
Take the Pro 2,
truck so far that
jump it,
no one's done it yet. It's all unknown. And
we just want to jump it really far,
the
but we want to
punches and
break
see how everything plays
What's the
out.
record?
process.
Just knowing that if we're going to push
I
through
think
this,
for me
we
it was
can push through
150.
anything.
No, 150, we do that racing.
That would be fine.
A lot goes into it. Obviously, we're not going to just go jump right away.
His first jump, I was
practice
unbelievably
from
nervous
smaller
for. The most nervous
stage.
I've ever
We've
been
already sent the truck
that
to
I
the
can
wind
remember
tunnel,
my
so
whole life.
I mean, a lot's going
And
into it, so it's
watching
not
it
like we're just
happen
winging
and
it.
turn out
It's
rather
still
poorly, very
obviously
poorly.
dangerous, but
And then you land on a ramp.
I just wanted to go home. I mean, I only have one son.
I just want, I want you to feel safe and not be afraid to say, I don't want to. That's my.
No, and at the end of the day, I mean, obviously, my life is way more important than breaking a record or doing something, so.
And I don't want you to worry about disappointing anyone because that's not what
The most frustrating part of the experience is the unknown. We're doing something that we have no idea what's going to happen with the truck, so it's all learning curve. And this is something where we're jumping a truck so far that no one's done it yet, so it's all unknown, and we kind of got to roll with the punches and see how everything plays out. Just knowing that if we can push through this, we can kind of push through.
You know, in the desert racing, it's sometimes in the short course, you know, he's conservative.
He said there was some serious pressure to deal with trying to win this thing.
His first jump, I was
He's got an opening. Bryce
unbelievably
Menzies
nervous.
in the
Probably
final
the most
corner.
nervous I've probably been in,
I
and I can remember my whole life.
It's not like
And then watching it happen and turn out
but like as a
rather
little kid
poorly,
growing up,
very
I think,
poorly, scared the hell out of me. I just wanted to
just
go
watching
home.
him and what
I mean, I only have
he
one son.
does. He's like so driven. The first guy in the shop, grab his room before anybody. I think I see that a lot, but then also he always wants everything to be the best. And I think with that comes a lot of pressure on me, and I noticed that from when we first started. So that just adds more pressure on me.
Great driving as they're going to come out nearly side by side. Now Bryce has the run on the outside. Oh, Menzies! Johnson follows him in. He could be the driver to beat.
Bryce is very conservative, and I think
he
that's
has his business, and I
the
get
number one
race,
thing that
we have a
upsets
business
Steve
together, so
is how conservative he is. You know, Steve wants Bryce to go out there and just win, attack from the start. You know, in the desert racing, and sometimes in the short course, you know, he's conservative and just waits for the right time.
He said there was some serious pressure to deal with trying to win this thing a second year in a row. He's got an opening. Bryce Menzies in the final corner.
I mean, I think he does it in a way where it's not like him just pushing me, but like as a little kid growing up, I think almost just watching him and what he does, he's like so driven in everything he does. You know, he's the first guy in the shop, and he'll grab a broom before anybody. And I think I see that a lot, but then also
I think he got like
he always
the
wants
first day,
everything to be the
and
best.
he won that
And I
whole
think
year.
with that comes a lot of pressure on me, and I
just
noticed
found
that
his niche
from when we first started. So that just adds more pressure on obviously winning and
he's done
doing all the stuff that I want to do. And
2009, I went from
I think
single buggy into the pro
maybe
tour
for a
class.
while
and
it
just
maybe
getting
hurt our
comfortable.
relationship a little bit, but now it's actually helped because he has his business and I get to race and we have a business together, so we're around each other a lot more. So I think that helps out at the end of the day.
2014 was my first year up to Frozen Rush. First time driving a Pro 4 truck. Came in with the third place, which I was stoked on. You always want to win, but first time in a Pro 4,
Hit that
the
and
third
just
place
put on
was
the wheel.
unbelievable.
Just proud of you. That's
You know,
good.
this is my day job. This is what I do. This is what I've done for all week long to get the trucks ready, the team ready to come out here and race these short course races.
Good job, bro. Thank you.
You know, short course is kind of where we make all the money or bring in the sponsors to make all
This
the
whole thing
sponsors
has been
because
kind of a
you put it on
college for
TV,
him to be in
it's
the
in front
business
of a
world, but
live
he
crowd.
turned this into a business.
You know, just love short course
The
racing.
first day, I think he didn't even have
Actually,
radios.
what it
I think he
brings
got
to
like
sport.
ninth the first day, and he won the second day, and he won that whole year, and ended up getting like rookie of the year. He just found his niche,
Found that niche in the nick of time. That's the best weather ever.
2011.